I believe that we live in what can feel like a very dark and broken world a lot of the time, whether it be health in America and our fitness, whether it be faith or belief. And my greatest calling, I've always believed on my life, is to help be the person that I wish I had in my life as I went through valleys and mountains. So I love building people up.
That's really cool. Hello, everyone. I am Micah Smith here, and I am back with another episode of Rebuild and Rise. And today I have such a special guest with me today. Her name is Corrie Beth, and she is a mom, a wife, an entrepreneur, a woman of faith. She is a fitness junkie, and I have the honor of calling her my friend. And I'm so excited to bring her here today because she has an incredible story. And I wanted her to share it with all of you and be prepared because this woman and I, when we are together, it's kind of scary. You're going to see. And so without belaboring it, I would like to welcome my friend Corrie Beth, owner of Pure Physique, to the show.
Thank you, Micah, so much for having me. It's an honor to be here.
Absolutely. So let's just dive right in. I want you just to explain. I mean, I already gave a little bit of an introduction, but tell everyone here what it is that you're most passionate about.
So many things. We have too many passions. No, I would say my biggest passion is in building people up. I believe that we live in what can feel like a very dark and broken world a lot of the time, whether it be health in America and our fitness, whether it be faith or belief. And my greatest calling, I've always believed on my life, is to help be the person that I wish I had in my life as I went through valleys and mountains. So I love building people up.
That's really cool. And I know that's true because I've experienced it firsthand. Every time I am with you, there's this energy that comes from you that you can't help but feel amazing when you're around you. And I think that it's just this genuine, authentic, it's just who you are. And so what you said is very true because I live it. I feel it.
Thank you for saying that.
So I wanted you to really quickly, can you tell everybody what Pure Physique is and why it's so unique and so special?
Thank you. Pure Physique is a fitness franchise that my husband and I started. He actually founded Pure Physique as a young middle schooler, doodling on a paper. I mean, it's amazing how our dreams can come to fruition.
Wow.
And in 2009, 2010, he and I actually partnered together in this. We grew it into a fitness franchise. We currently have 7 locations, but what we do in Pure Physique is we take fitness and we make it simple and accessible. So our entire fitness model is built on time-efficient workouts. They're just 30 minutes because the biggest excuse we hear from people is, I don't have time to work out, or it's too complicated to work out. And so clients at our studios only work out 2 to 3 days a week, which is like a dream in today's world, that they only have to find 60 to 90 minutes over the course of a week. And then we do a lot of coaching through nutrition and mindset, which I think is a big missing piece in a lot of fitness businesses and gyms.
Sure.
They are boutique fitness studios, mostly centered here on the East Coast. And it really is the place and the platform that we get to build people up mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually.
Now, what's interesting about your story, so I obviously know you personally, so we've had a lot of behind the scenes conversations. And one thing that I love about you is that you are not always this person. You didn't wake up one day and just say, ta-da, right?
Wouldn't that be nice?
I love your story. And actually, we had the opportunity of sharing a stage together where you did talk about your personal journey and story. Can you share a little bit about who you were before this transformation that's taken place in your life and just talk about your transformation?
Yeah, I think the biggest realization to have about everyone is we all have a story. And oftentimes if things feel so surface in our lives that we see people and we think that who we see is who they've always been. And And I love digging into understanding how that person became, because the expert at anything was once a beginner. We all started as beginners. And I was 8 years old. I had big dreams of being in fitness or being a fitness model.
Really? At
Like
8?
I wanted to be on Full House.
Oh my gosh. Okay, this is getting good. I love this.
That was my dream. And I'll never forget watching a bodybuilding show at 8 years old. I think we were just like flipping channels on those big box TVs we had.
Yeah.
And we came across this channel where there were bodybuilders on a stage. And I was like, wow, like this is amazing. You can
Yeah.
make your body do that. And
Yeah.
my mom and my sister were like, ew, gross, that's disgusting. And I think it was at that point, I mean, I remember being 8, and my mom will tell the story. I turned to my mom and I'm like, I'm going to meet my husband in the gym one day.
Oh my gosh.
My parents didn't even belong to a gym. My mom was doing like jazzercise.
Oh my God.
But I feel like sometimes we just know things
Yeah.
deep down within us. And my life actually did not follow that pathway whatsoever. I went on to become a complete sugar addict. I put on 20 pounds in high school and another 20 to 25 in college.
Wow.
And was sick and miserable and on all sorts of medications. I was diagnosed with IBS, which is irritable bowel syndrome.
Sure.
So you basically live in the bathroom, and that's very fun when you're trying, and it's exhausting. It literally just
my
like
gosh.
exhausts, it
Yeah.
zaps your energy. I struggled with cystic acne so bad on my face that as I exited college and became a teacher, I had special ed students with no filter that would lovingly ask, what is wrong with your face? Because
my
it was
gosh.
just ridden with pimples, and they were
Wow.
so deep. So it was, turning to the medical world. Can you fix my IBS medication? Can you fix these pimples on my face? Steroid shots, topicals, oral medications I was given. And I think we all have bottoms that we hit. And my rock bottom was literally leaving my dream teaching job, which I'd secured this amazing job in an amazing district here in New York State, and was literally falling asleep behind the wheel driving home from my job,
Oh my gosh.
and received a narcolepsy diagnosis.
Oh my gosh.
So I'm overweight. I can't rebutton jeans and dress pants at the end of my teaching day. And I remember that
Was
realization.
that bad?
It was so
Couldn't
bad.
even button your pants by the end of the
Bloated,
day.
just like so bloated.
Oh
you know?
my gosh, the
I
pain.
used to use
Ugh.
hair ties. I'd loop a hair tie. I mean, you did this, you'd loop a hair tie through the.
I would have just worn maternity pants.
I needed them. I really needed them. But it was a hair tie. You loop a hair tie. This is great for pregnant people. But like you loop a hair tie through the little, hole in your pants where the
Yeah.
button goes, and then you loop it over to the. This is what I would do.
Oh my goodness.
And this was my normal.
Wow.
And so many people live there. Like they just think this is what it is, right?
Sure.
I get old, I get married, I get fat, I get unhealthy,
Right.
we age, we
Right.
hurt, we're in pain.
Right.
It is what it is.
Right.
And so I was not the picture of health that I once dreamed of being.
Oh my gosh.
So that rock bottom really led me to how can I help myself? There were many more things that followed that of, you want to go there? I guess
Yes.
we'll go there.
Let's
We'll
go.
there.
Yeah. We got the time.
Okay.
Yeah.
That led me, as I was teaching, I'm getting my master's. Now, I had dreams then at that point in my life of going and actually opening my own school.
Yeah.
So I said, I'm going to go. I had a double undergrad degree. I'm going to get my master's. I'm going to get a doctorate in educational leadership, and I'm going to become a superintendent of a school district. Like that was my career track and path. And at that point, I wasn't really even interested in marriage and kids. It was just, I want to be a boss babe.
Yeah.
I hate that term, by the way, now.
Do you?
I hate it. It's a little overused. It is. It's like 2018, like
Yeah.
I'm going to be a boss.
Yeah.
You're not a boss, though. Like
Yeah.
women can be incredibly strong. I
Yes.
think that we are so strong.
Yes.
And we're also gentle.
Yes.
But if we have to be a boss, we lose that femininity, which I think actually makes us beautiful at sales and business.
Agreed.
So enter into my black year. I call it the black year. It was like a very, very dark 13 months of my life where my mantra over my life was FML, which stands for F my life. And I said it all the time. I had it in my AIM profile. It was FML. Something bad happened, FML. I got pulled over because I was speeding, FML. You name it, like everything was FML.
This is so contradictory to who you are now. This is crazy for me. This is amazing. Okay, keep going.
We all have a story, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I ended up at a friend's event in upstate New York. At that event, I was assaulted by another woman, thrown on the ground, cracked open my skull, came home via my now husband, Mike, who drove up with my father to get me. And, and it was like trips back up to Saratoga. There was closed captioning TV that we had to watch myself getting attacked, which was honestly one of the most spiritually damaging things to me, to literally watch myself get thrown like a rag doll on the ground. But it was also that moment that opened me up to, like, is this how I want my life to be?
Yeah.
I'm literally cursing my life with words. I'm inviting darkness into my life. That situation, I absolutely had a hand in. I love when people are like, I had nothing to do. No, I had a hand in that situation. I was attacked by a woman because I tossed water at her. And she came back and she got me back, you know?
Sure.
And so that realization, as well as that extreme ownership over my own actions,
Powerful.
unfortunately led to extended leave from my teaching job. And it was my grandmother that literally said to me, what you say is what you get. And that for me was the biggest turning point. I mean, it sounds so simple, right? What you say is what you get. But I hadn't actually considered the power and gravity of my words. And I'm like, I've been cursing my life. I've been saying F my life. You know, before that, my nose had been broken. Before that, my car had been keyed at my job I was working. I mean, it was like all these icky things where I'm like, why do these bad things keep happening? And it's interesting because we probably have people that we know of or we commune with in our regular life where we're like, oh my gosh, their plane is always late. They always lose their luggage. They always miss out on an opportunity. Like, why does that happen? And I think that we fail to give power, or we fail to give the importance to our power, our beliefs, and our words.
Amen.
Right? We are attracting and repelling things constantly in and out of our life. And for me, I was attracting all of these icky things. So what you say is what you get. I remember being home. Now, I had a concussion, so, you know, no screens, no reading. I remember the popcorn ceiling in my now husband in my first apartment, like spinning and just laying there. Like I felt helpless. And I'm like, well, then what is it that I want? If I don't want my life to be effed, what do I want? And I decided right then and there, I believe all my dreams are coming true. And I put it everywhere. It was a Post-it on the fridge. I mean, he made fun of me, my husband. What is this? And I'm like, I have to believe it. Like, I have to get this in me.
Sure.
There were widgets on our computer. I had it like as a Post-it on the background of my computer. I'd write it on the mirror with eyeliner. Anywhere that I could see it, it was, I believe all my dreams are coming true. And I don't want to say that it was instant because I think a lot of stuff online is oversold. Like, do this and it happens, you know, believe it and like your whole life transforms. But over the course of the next year, my life took a dramatically different turn where I started saying positive things. I started believing positive things. And through that process, there were friends that were pruned out of my life. There were drinking binges that just ended. There were people that I couldn't be around because they were part of that older version of me that literally had to die in order for me to embrace this new version. And from that point, I mean, it was just this crazy transition of within the next 3 years, my husband now and I, we had gotten engaged, we got married, we got pregnant on our honeymoon. We decided I was leaving my teaching job of 7 years, walking away from benefits and insurance and tenure and all of the things to literally go into fitness. I went back and got certifications so that I felt qualified and was qualified to do what I was doing. And then started a franchise with what we were doing. And it was just this passion where I was able to use everything from teaching and my degree in a completely different way, educating people about health and fitness and making it bite-sized and accessible for them.
Wow.
And lost all the weight. I lost the weight. I got off the medications. I couldn't, and that was the biggest aha moment to me. I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't need these medications to heal. Like, I actually can change my diet. I could change what I'm doing. And we connected actually on bodybuilding because I actually went on with my now husband to compete in a bodybuilding show, which completely transforms your body and I think just makes your mind realize what's possible. And so through that process, I'm like, oh my gosh, if I can do it, anyone can do it.
Sure.
If I can lose 35, 40 pounds, anyone can lose 35, 40 pounds. We don't need all of these medical interventions. And I'm not one to say I don't believe in, because 100% there's a time and a place. But really, you're going to give me a medicine for my IBS? Why didn't you talk to me about what I was putting in my body?
Sure.
Why didn't you talk to me about the food I was eating that was disrupting my gut and your skin and gut being so linked together? Why didn't you talk to me about what I was eating at the dermatologist office instead of shooting me up with steroid shots, which were so painful every single time I went, thousands of dollars spent. We're not having the right conversations. And so that my own journey helped me to now have real conversations with people to believe in people before they believe in themselves, because I think that that's what I really needed. I needed somebody to believe in me, and my parents did and my friends did, but it was like that cumulative belief of finally learning how to believe in myself. I believe that that is one of my gifts. Like, I will believe in you. I will believe the heck out of you until you can rise up and believe in yourself.
Wow. I love that. I had no idea that you had such a strong teaching background. That's actually all brand new to me. So I actually do have a question about the teaching component, because obviously, you know, I deal a lot with credit and finances. I have a question for you, because I always say in high school and in college, we're never taught about finances or how to run a business or how to manage our money. Was that stuff that you were taught in school, or did you ever teach that in school to anyone?
Micah. One of my biggest reasons from walking away from the education system here in America is because there is so much that is lacking, and it is not just upsetting or sad. It infuriates me. No one is equipped to fill out a check. What is interest? What happens on my credit card? I mean, you are a wonderful teacher, by the way, and I've learned things. I'm like, oh my gosh, one late credit card payment stays on your credit report for 7 years? Nobody teaches you that. And you go into extreme debt, most people in America, to go to college, to come out and not get a job that's ever going to help pay for what you did within the first 1 to 5 years of working. What are we doing? And that lack of education, for me, my whole thing was wanting to be a superintendent and start a school. Well, I actually did start a school.
Wow.
And it was homeschool.
Okay.
In my dining room.
I love this.
With my 2 boys.
Listen, you have to be flexible as far as, you know, how you get to. Sometimes you've got to realize the importance of specifics. I love this.
God has
great.
a sense of humor, you know? He's like, you could start a school. It's just, it's going to be in your dining room, and it's going to be your kids.
Incredible.
And I love that my kids are learning about financial literacy, financial responsibility, entrepreneurship. These are things that are lacking, and you can't help but think it might be by design to make people reliant on a system that's not there to serve them.
100%. You couldn't have summarized it better. So if you were to, because I just value the way that you run your life, your business. I mean, I'm learning so much from you. And it's so much fun for me to have people like yourself on the podcast, because I'm just soaking it all up, because there's so much that you've seen that I haven't seen. And for everyone listening, how can they incorporate all these little things that you're incorporating into your home life, right? So like you just talked about, your kids are exposed to entrepreneurship and financial literacy. What are some basics that you share with your kids that people should be sharing with their families?
That is a big question. And I'm equally learning so much from you.
Yeah.
I love your videos. I love our fellowship time together.
Thank you.
You know, I think the first...
And there will be more.
I'm excited. I think the first thing that's so important, especially if you are growing a family, is understanding that the influence that we see today of being on social media and having likes and followers and being on stages, it's actually not influence. Influence begins in the home. You know, and I believe that more is caught than taught. So for our kids to see the way that we eat, to see the way that we talk about tithing and giving to our church, to see the way that we say, we just went to the store the other day and the boys needed new sneakers. I said, here's your budget. And we walk into the store and I'm like, I don't even know if that's a realistic budget, because these shoes are like $110.
So expensive.
For shoes kids are going to wear for 6 months and grow out of. But establishing those things, being the example, doing it yourself is the best way to do it. And I think that we, as parents, especially, I saw this being in the classroom, we put a lot off on teachers. I think that parents don't realize how important of a teacher that they are to their own kids. They're actually the best teacher to their kids. Like there's a reason that God gave you that baby, the reason that God made you the parent to that human and aunt and grandparent. There's connections in so many ways, and we discount our own ability to teach and influence. Like my biggest influence, podcasts are amazing and they're going to get information out. I'm working on a book and I can't wait to get that out. But the biggest influence is my kitchen table.
Wow.
How am I living? How am I showing up? How am I practicing what I'm preaching? Because you can be anybody that says, well, we should do things this way, but how are you exhibiting that? Nothing irritates me more, Micah, than the rules for thee, but not for me. Like, no, if that's who you want to be or what you want to exhibit, like, live it out. And if you're not, like, stop lying to yourself.
Yeah. One thing I've always noticed about you, and because I pick up so much every time you speak, and I feel like you're very intentional about everything you do. From even, I think you also read Profit First, if I'm not mistaken. I think you're always nose in a book like myself. I think you just value education so much. And I loved the conversation that we had when you were talking about how you guys, even like every month, you set money aside in this account for a vacation fund, and this, this money goes here for school, and this money goes here for shoes, and this, like, you're so strategic. And that's one of the biggest things I feel like people are missing. They're not intentional, and they're not putting things on paper. And I love that you use the word budget, because so many people are terrified of the word budget, but you can't track what you can't measure. Can you expand on that?
I think you have to not be that way and decide you want to be different, because we were not always this way. I mean, I remember, this is a conversation I've never shared other than with a friend in private, but I remember the beginning of our business, leaving my teaching career, which I absolutely left too early. We were not financially ready for me to let go of that income and benefits. And I remember going and having to pay for private insurance, which was $1,529 a month for 2 people.
Oh my gosh.
And that actually was as much as our rent. Our rent was $1,500 a month. So we had this big burden financially, and it sucked. I remember actually saying, like, well, I could sell my wedding ring. Like,
sure.
What is it that we need to do, And of course my husband's like, absolutely not. We're going to figure it out. And it's that desire to want to be better, go to the next level, and seek wisdom. All too often, I don't know if it's an American thing or it's a human thing, but okay, I'm struggling financially. Let me go and complain to you about it because I want you to feel bad for me. I have always hated victimhood. Like, don't be a victim, because if you're a victim, you can't be a victor. And rather than going and complaining, we would go and seek wise counsel. So who in my life is doing what I want, being who I want, or having what I want? Let me go and ask those people. And I remember going to a good friend and mentor, and I'm like, financially, I don't. She's like, well, you need to go find this, and it's that desire to go and do it. And at the end of the day, it's seeking that counsel, but understanding that once you get on a path to becoming more financially sound, becoming more healthy, becoming more disciplined, discipline is just simply the repeat act of boring things. I mean, how exciting is it to pay your bill every month?
I don't know. I
maybe
get
you
pretty
like
excited.
Feels good, right? Like, pay it off. But like, what's going to come again the next month.
Yeah.
And you have to pay it again.
Sure.
And a lot of people, they think that there's going to be these fancy solutions, like, I'm just going to win the lotto and everything is going to be fine. Well, you probably know the percentage of lotto earners or lotto winners. They're not earners, they're winners that win the lotto and then become broke.
Yes.
It's like 70% of people, because you never learned how to manage it. And side tangent, but parallel that makes sense, is a lot of these people that are using weight loss meds and weight loss drugs, if you're not learning the act of being healthy, as soon as that medication is gone, you're going to gain the weight back. It's the same as winning the lotto.
Yeah.
It's the same as magically losing 70 pounds overnight. Like, you can't cheat and shortcut your way through things.
Right.
You have to understand that discipline is not scary. Discipline is not mean. Discipline is not bad. Discipline is understanding that you have to do the basic boring things again and again and again, but connecting it to every morning you wake up, you get dressed. Sometimes it's exciting. Sometimes you're in the same gym outfit every single day, but like, you have to do it. And you brush your teeth every morning. People don't think about that as discipline because it's just what we do. So until the thing becomes just what you do, it feels like discipline.
Sure.
But the neat thing is, the more you practice it, it becomes who you are.
Right.
And now we don't think twice about tithing 10% of our income to our church.
Yeah.
We don't think twice about being generous. We don't think twice about setting money aside every single week for taxes.
Yeah.
Because it's just what you do, because it's just who we are. We are responsible with our finances.
Yes. I love that. I think that is, there's so many things that come to mind. You hit on so many big, important qualities that I feel like not only do we have the characteristics that we look for in people when we hire them, and like accountability is one of them. And we even, like, when we're qualifying clients to be part of our program, like, we're looking for all of these qualities that if they don't embody, we're just not going to be in alignment. And I think it's so amazing that you literally hit everything that we preach all day long. And I think it's so powerful. Do you think that having that season of struggle when you were, right, when you quit a little bit too early and you went and you built a business, do you think that having that season of struggle, do you think it helps you to appreciate more what you have now?
Absolutely. I don't think you can appreciate anything until you have struggle. And I think understanding that everyone around you is struggling with something,
Yes.
it helps us to sympathize with, we're all walking through something, but what are we learning?
Yeah.
You can't have a diamond without immense pressure. You can't have olive oil without pressing.
Yeah.
You can't have wine without pressing. Like, there is a pressing that must happen for you to go to the next level. And it sucks. I'm not here to sugarcoat it.
Sure.
But the Bible says, consider it pure joy
Yeah.
when you face these situations.
Yeah.
And I've really been meditating on this word joy, because happiness, you could be happy and then you could be sad. And you could feel happy because you won the lotto, and then you could be sad because you're broke again.
Yeah.
Right? Happiness is just this fleeting emotion.
Sure.
But joy is something that lives in you. And so if the Bible is commanding us to, like, consider it pure joy to endure struggles, well, there's so many words in there, but what is joy? Joy, I believe, is Jesus over you.
I love that.
Right? It's putting the creator. I love when people are like, oh, the universe. Who created the universe? Right? Who created the universe?
Exactly.
You don't ever look at a pot in a pottery shop and say, wow, that pot is so wonderful unto itself. No, who made the pot? Who formed the pot? Like, who took the time to create? And I believe that we're all created in the image of Jesus. And so joy is Jesus over you. You have to be able to tap into that joy as you walk through, because there's always another side. If you look at the disciples in the boat in the Sea of Galilee, and the storm came and they're freaking out. I mean, that's us every moment of every day. You know, this thing happened I didn't anticipate. This thing is late. This person didn't do what I wanted. This expectation wasn't met. I'm not on track for this goal or this milestone. That's part of life. But persevering and enduring through that, there's always another side. We just are too short-sighted sometimes to press through and get there. But you can't shortcut your way to anything.
Yeah.
You just can't.
Absolutely. So this is so easy, because I was going to talk about faith, but you just, boom, you smacked faith like right in the nose. So I really, this is probably one of the things that just draws me to you, because your love for Jesus, like, I love when he truly shines through us. And I feel like that's who you are. And I would love for you to just expand. And it was beautiful. I just, even before we started this podcast, you're like, hey, let's pray. And I love that about you so much. You are so faith forward, and I absolutely love that. And I think being bold in your faith, I think, is everything. And so have you always been this person where you're super bold in your faith?
No.
No? When did that take place? Like, when did this shift happen for you?
I am very grateful to my parents for raising me in a Christian household. There were very difficult things that I had to face as a kid and as a teen, that if I didn't have a faith foundation, I don't know how I would have endured and healed from those things. And I look at a lot of families where they say, well, just let our kids decide. Decide what? If you don't give them a foundation of something to believe in, how are they going to decide?
This is so good.
And you can walk away from the faith. I did. I walked away multiple times because I was mad at God. You know, God is supposed to be this good father in heaven. And I think our human error is we look at him as a human. God isn't human. He's not your earthly father. He's not your friend. God's purpose, first of all, is omnipresence. He's everywhere all the time, which is a beautiful thing to think. You know, he was with me in my crying the same time he was with you in your struggle.
Right.
And that foundation, it reached new levels. You know, it's like we take one step back to take two steps forward. And faith came in big for me. I lost my first boyfriend the night of my 16th birthday.
Oh.
He was killed in a car accident. And I was turning 16, and I couldn't wait to get my license, and I couldn't wait to drive, and I couldn't wait to have this freedom. And then this horrific tragedy happened, and I didn't want to drive, and I didn't want to be in cars, and I didn't want to go anywhere. And I was so angry that God allowed this to happen to a young 17-year-old boy. I mean, how could he do this to their parents? How could he do this to his sisters? How could this happen? But faith is also the belief that we have free will as humans, which is where that whole like, well, where was God during this horrific thing? Well, humans have free will. We can choose good. We can choose evil. We make decisions all day long that all have consequences, good and bad.
Sure.
And healing through that process was the realization that God uses all things for good. Death is terrible. It's not something we talk about enough. And so fast forward, there were many deaths that I was hit with, and my mom will always say, you know, I feel so bad. Like there was so much death in your life, but it's that pressing. You have to go through these difficult seasons to become stronger. You have to do hard things in order to be strong in the gym and out mentally and physically. And after my husband and I got married and had our first baby, we got pregnant again, and we were so excited, and we lost that baby 20 weeks into pregnancy. We had just found out she was a girl. The doctors always said, she's very long legs, very strong legs. You know, it's going to be this strong, amazing baby. That's not something you plan for, you know, and where was God? But these are the questions that we ask thinking that he is who we are, and he's not. I mean, he has a plan that is so much bigger and greater and higher. And you can look back and be like, oh my gosh, like, wow, that's why that happened, right? That's why that relationship didn't work. That's why I didn't get that job. I mean, there's always a reason. They say hindsight is 20/20, but I think it's just the realization of the grandeur of God's plan. And in losing that baby, my faith actually exploded. So that was 2016. And it was within that next year, just pressed into faith. And it was because of the friends at that point I had around me that were no longer priding themselves on drinking and getting drunk and dancing on bars. I had developed and found friends that were firm in faith, that prayed. I mean, what greater gift is it than to have a praying friend? Right? I get phone calls from friends, you know, oh my gosh, this terrible thing happened. Do you want me to pray? Do you want to pray? You want to pray right now? And it's just amazing the peace that washes over us in that prayer. And so these friends prayed and prayed and prayed. And the bigger prayer was not actually for me, but it was for my husband, who was really angry about losing a baby.
Wow.
And I'll never forget, I mean, I had a panic attack. I had this literal dead human inside of my womb and had to wait to go and have surgery to have her removed, which nobody prepares you for any of this. And I'll never forget, my husband looked at me and he was like, this is not going to be our born again Christian moment. Because I wanted to believe that God could use this for good. But when that happened, I thought, well, this could be the end of our relationship. Like this could destroy us, right? Finances can destroy marriages. Losing babies can destroy marriages. Learning disabilities in children can destroy marriages, right? That stress sometimes is enough to break. And my friends said, just pray for him. Just pray for him. And I did. I prayed that he'd find men. I'd pray that he'd find what he needed to give him peace through this situation. And things you just can't make up. The men that appeared in my husband's life, men that he had trained at his gym for years, who gave him an audiobook about faith. And just ministered to him. We, instead of growing apart, as my biggest fear was through this experience, actually grew together in our faith and realized that if we keep God at the top, right? It's God, it's spouse, and then it's children, and then it's everybody else. If we follow that format, focusing on God will always bring us closer in our marriage instead of in opposite directions. So faith was not born out of happiness and vacation Bible school songs and church services and good feelings. My faith was forged in very dark, difficult circumstances that nobody wants to walk through.
Yeah.
But as a result of them, the faith that I carry today is stronger than I believe ever could have developed without those hard times.
Wow. That was, I don't even have any words. That was amazing. Thank you for enlightening. I honestly have no words. That was incredible. I had no idea the depth to your stories, and I always knew that you had some very strong and just some very intense stories that formed the woman that we see before us today, but that was very powerful, to say the least. So thank you. I have no words. It's very rare that I'm rendered speechless when I'm with you. That was really powerful.
Well, I love how we were connected through faith. I mean, if you look at what you and I are both doing in business, in entrepreneurship, literally in building, you're building people's credit, you're building their belief, you're building a financial education that was not provided in schools and typically not even provided in the home. I don't know about you, but I grew up, we didn't talk about money.
Nope.
You know, I remember my parents fighting once about money. And so we create these beliefs that money is evil and money is the root of all evil. Like, money actually just makes you more of who you are.
Sure.
If you're generous, more money makes you more generous.
Yeah.
If you're a jerk, more money is probably going to make you a bigger jerk. And through that, you're doing that over here. I'm doing this over here with people's health and fitness. But our connection was actually through faith.
Yeah.
I'll never forget meeting you. And I was like, wow, you have boundless energy. Like, I have to get to know her
gift.
more.
It's our gift.
But it's the Holy Spirit, right?
Amen.
Because to sustain that level of energy would put you in the fetal position in bed.
Sure.
It would exhaust you, you know, and I always think about, you know, being high, having an event, being a keynote. You were recently a keynote at an event. Like, that is a high.
Yeah.
For every action, there's an equal reaction. So then you come down here and it's like, it's how people feel after their wedding. You know, it's all this planning goes into it. It's so exciting. And then it's over.
Yeah.
But Holy Spirit power sustains us even in our weakness.
Amen.
And it's not to say that we live up here all the time, because there's mountains and there's valleys, and valleys is where all that fertilizer is. You know, it stinks. It's the poop, right?
Yeah.
But it grows
so
you.
True.
It grows you.
So true.
But
so
Holy
true.
Spirit, it's not the dependence on my own energy. It's the dependence on God to meet all my needs and to fill me with his power to give me that energy to go out and be impactful in the world. And that's the difference.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Corrie Beth. I just want you to talk and talk and talk. So let's have you talk some more. So let's have you talk a little bit about, because I mean, we talk so much about your faith and where it came from, which I still am just like, I'm going to sit probably for 2 hours and I'm going to just absorb everything that we talked about, like, after this is done. But can you talk a little bit about, because I really do feel like, and you've touched on social media and just how unrealistic this world is. And we live in a microwave society, right? We're so myopic. And I know, because we've had a lot of personal conversations about the struggles that you've had while growing your company. And can you talk a little bit about how your faith has carried you through, and how, I want you to just give someone realistically what it's like to grow an empire successfully. It's not 3 months. It's not 2 weeks. It's not 1 year. It's not 2 years. Just talk about what those bumps look like along the way. And I would love to hear about, there's been some very trying times that I know about, and how your faith has carried you through those bumps of running a company.
Yeah, it's not easy. And there's a lot that you learn from things you never expect to face. And I always like to think not of our business as an empire, but a kingdom. So in an empire, the king is in charge and everyone answers and serves the king. But in a kingdom, the person in charge serves the people. Right? So I have known from maybe not the beginning, but maybe a few years in, like, we're actually building for the kingdom, a kingdom. Like, we're actually here to serve everyone in the land, not the other way around. Like, it's not, what can I get from you? It's, how can I serve you? Right? And I believe that that's actually the biggest serving back to us. It's like giving a compliment makes you feel good too. Giving a gift sometimes is more fun than receiving a gift.
Sure.
And through that process, we've had some wrong people in our business, and we've had some really right people in our business. And the biggest thing in business is knowing your values and establishing a culture that people feel connected and aligned with. Now, part of our culture is our faith. I mean, how could we omit that from our business? We are not in our gyms handing out Bible, writing scripture on the walls. And while I think there's nothing wrong with that, that's not the business we're in.
Sure.
I have a friend who does that. She's got scriptures all over her gym wall out in Oregon. And I'm like, you go, girl. Like, that is so great, right?
Yeah.
That's not our business. But we've never shied away from our faith and our business. And that is something that actually became a big attack on my husband and I for having faith. And it wasn't just, you can't have faith, which is the part of what it was. And if you understand that spiritually, there's a Jezebel spirit that wants to say, if you do not conform, we will crush you. I mean, isn't that cancel culture? If you don't believe what I believe, I'm going to end you. Spiritual. And I believe that situation had to happen for a pruning. You know, a pruning is if you have a bush, the only way for it to grow stronger and better is to cut off the dead stuff.
Sure.
So without our choice, our business was pruned.
Sure.
And thank God it happened then at 3 locations and not now at 7 or 25 or 50 or 300.
Yeah.
Thank God we learned early on in our business what things we needed to have in place and that we sought wise counsel rather than trying to figure it out. I think, I'm like, God, why couldn't our business have grown faster, right? We have friends in the fitness and acquaintances in the fitness industry. I mean, they're at 300 franchise units. And I'm like, wow, you know, why didn't that happen for us? It's because you have to grow in a sustainable way in order to set a very strong and firm foundation. And either lacking or having the things that we did or didn't have, or the people we did or didn't have in our business at that point, it was a cancer. And thank God those people removed themselves from our business. Thank God that situation happened, because my goodness, do we have wise counsel that instructs us financially, legally, HR.
Yeah.
I mean, I become an HR expert. My
Yeah.
God.
Yeah.
You know, of how to conduct and handle yourself and things that you are and aren't allowed to do. But it really is sad, the offense that people can take if the culture doesn't align. So in building a kingdom, you want culture to be so apparent. You don't want to hide who you are.
Yes.
And especially in a franchise business or even in your business. Getting into relationship, it's a business relationship, but it's a relationship nonetheless. You have to understand that the people that you have this relationship with are people that you're going to work with for 6 months, a year, 10 years. It's important to understand who those people are at the core. We sat down with new franchisees and my husband's like, we're basically getting married, right? The two of you and the two of us, like we're going to be here the next 10 years together. So if there's anything that we need to talk about, let's have honest conversations. Let's have hard conversations. If there's things that you need or are struggling with, like, let's keep that line of communication open, because it's a relationship. And that gets lost on social media.
Yes.
Right? Look at all my friends, 5,000 friends, 25,000 friends. They're not your friends. They're just people. And if you put your trust in them, they're going to like what you say some of the time and they're going to hate what you say some of the time, and you might get canceled. But you know what? It's knowing who you are. Like, who is your character? That's who you are at the core. That's who God knows you to be. That's who you know you to be. That is an important piece of business.
There's so much that you touched on, and I was like, it's so funny when you speak, because I'm like, I think of something and I'm like, but no, you can't interject yet. And then I think of something and I'm like, no, you can't interject yet. But one of the biggest things that comes to mind is my favorite verse. And again, you're walking, living, breathing proof, Romans 8:28, for all things come together for the good of those who love the Lord and who are called according to his purpose. And I have seen this abundantly flow throughout my life, and I watch it in other believers' lives, how it's like we go through painful scenario after painful scenario after painful scenario. And I think one of my favorite quotes is, life can only be lived forwards but understood backwards. And so
really good. I like that.
And so as I listen to your story, I'm reflecting on my own life, and every time something happens. So I just, honestly, I rejoice in the difficult times, because it's producing, right, it's character. And to your thought process, like, why couldn't we grow faster? And somebody once told me, they're like, well, listen, understand this, that fast success produces ego. slow success produces character. And I feel like the ones that God really loves and that he's trying to build, right, that lasting thing that's going to be something maybe you pass on to your children and your children's children, and this generational thing. And God talks about how blessing and abundance, right, you pass it on to generations to come. Something that is built on such a sturdy foundation, right, what's built quickly usually dissolves very quickly. And there's not that same foundation that you're so carefully building and you don't even realize it, but God's like, no, like I get it, like I know what you want and I know what you're capable of, but here's what we're going to do. We're going to build it the right way. And I love that you talk about pruning, because I think pruning is something that people just don't understand the value and the importance of it, because it's so painful when it happens. Pruning is hurtful, and I've experienced it personally. And people have to understand, when we're not receiving something that we want, or something is being taken away from us, right? Inevitably, like you said it so many times, like God has such a bigger plan, and his plan is going to trump anything we could have ever conjured up. And so I hope that everyone listening today took away the importance of necessary pruning. And sometimes, and even Pastor Greg talks about it, obviously we go to the same church now, which is really cool. And Pastor Greg talks about sometimes pruning isn't always pruning the dead. Sometimes it's pruning the good. And that's when it's most hurtful, because I've had experiences when I'm like, wait, what? I'm like, but that was working. And then it's taken away. And I'm like, but it's replaced with something 100 times better after I go through the pain. And I'm like, so I have just stopped. Like, I no longer get anxious when something is ripped away from me. I no longer am concerned when I'm going through battles, because I'm just like, well, I'm like, I know the God I serve. So I know that there's some grandiose plan that you have here, and I'm blessed and highly favored. Talk about the importance of words, right?
Amen.
And I love to sit there sometimes. Like, I don't know if you ever do this, but do you ever feel like, I just want to do something really bold just to see what God decides, like, what to do with it? You know what I mean? Because he just shuts the door on things. He's like, no. Like, sometimes I do that. I'm like, oh, this is going to be fun. Because God's just going to close the door if it's not meant to be. Yeah. And that's how strong my faith is. It's like, I will walk in such boldness because, well, if that's not part of his plan, he's just going to close the door. So, like, I kind of just, like, step off of cliffs sometimes, because I'm like, well, I'm like, he's going to put his angels right there if I'm not supposed to fall, you know? Or that's how I feel now. And I feel like this will resonate with you too, because I feel like your faith is that bold and that strong. So
I love that you said that. And the last part of that scripture, according to his purpose, is the hardest thing for us to get our minds around, right? Because we think of God as a person, and God is not a person. A good parent corrects, right? You were corrected, I was corrected. It doesn't feel good when you're corrected, but that is what God does for us. And one of the most powerful prayers I remember praying so many times, I got disappointed, Micah, was God, open doors that no man may shut, and shut doors that no man may open. And it's that repeat prayer of, you can't pray that without faith. You can't pray that without a foundation. You can't mean that, because again, we're like a ship in the storm, right? We're pulled in every direction that the wind blows, and we're tossed in the waves. I mean, that is life without faith. But believing that God will make a way and he will shut doors. I mean, there were schools actually that we wanted our oldest son to go to, and we were so excited, and we did, the tuition and the admission. We were like right on track, and we were like, God, open doors that no man may shut, right? Thinking like he's going to go to this like young kid academy and shut doors that no man may open. And it was like the door got slammed in our face. And I was like, oh, all right, so we're going to pivot now, you know? But also in the Bible, it says knock and it will be answered. And I think that's where a lot of people fall into the dangers of manifesting or the book, The Secret, which I think is great.
Sure.
But you can't just sit around in your bed
right,
and want to become the fit credit doc.
Right.
You can't just sit and lay on the sofa watching Netflix
right,
and want to have impact and influence and speak on stages. Like, you actually have to take an action. And so I love that you said, I'm willing to walk off a cliff. Like, I'm willing to go and take this bold and courageous action. And that's what I think a lot of people miss. They just think it's going to come to them. No, you got to go through sweat and toil. You're going to bleed. You're going to cry. But it's going to be worth it because you're taking action, right? God he will adjust. Like, he's the ultimate course corrector.
Yeah.
right? You know, Corrie Beth, you're not supposed to be a teacher. Actually, you're supposed to teach over here.
Yeah.
Okay, right? Micah, you're not supposed to live in that state. Actually, I've called you over here. I'm going to give you this amazing dream husband, right? Your dreamy prince in shining armor. Okay, right?
Very, very cool. I love your contributions. It's so amazing how you are impacting so many people within your community, the church, your business. I love that I learned market ministry from you. That term market ministry, I thought that was just, I ran with that. When I learned about that, I ran with that. So as we wrap up, I mean, we covered so much, and I think we should have you back because there's so much that I want to ask you about that we haven't even highlighted. I mean, there's like 15 questions that I had written down here, and I'm like, I want to actually ask you one more because we're already running out of time, which is really crazy. But I do want you to, leave us because you're notoriously gifted at this. If you could leave us all with just one final piece of wisdom, this is Corrie Beth wisdom. I don't care what it is that you talk about, whatever God has impressed upon your heart to share with the audience today. If you would just leave us all with one final piece of wisdom, what would it be?
Stop waiting for permission. I believe this is a definite blanket statement, so maybe it doesn't apply to everyone, but especially as a young girl growing up, I wanted to please people. I wanted to be liked. I wanted to be a good girl. And so I oftentimes wouldn't act until someone said, you can go, you can begin, you can start this thing, right? You have permission. We wait for permission and we sit on dreams and impact and gold mines. You actually don't need permission. And if you're waiting for that amazing, inspiring mentor to just plop down in your life, I want to give the listener permission to actually just become that person. One of the most profound things that was shared with me by Lisa Bevere, who is an incredible Christian speaker and author. We literally sat knee to knee at an event, and I don't even know how I ended up there with her, but I was just pouring out my heart of all these difficult things in my life. And she said to me, be the woman you never had. Just be it. And I thought, oh my gosh, I don't need permission to go and love people. I don't need permission. I don't need an example to show me how I'm supposed to treat people. Like I can actually go first. I can just love people. I can show up. I can do this thing like that. Be the woman you always wanted was so profound because it stopped me from waiting for permission and just becoming who I always wanted. And anyone can do that. You can just become the person that you wish you had in your life. You can become the influence. You can become the mentor. You can just start doing that.
Yeah.
You do not need permission.
I love that. I absolutely love that. And that was actually a very pivotal point for me personally as well. I just had to make different choices. And that's all it came down to. It just came down to one choice. And then I made another choice and then another choice. And they just continued to compound on themselves year after year after year to become the person I am today. And that woman's just going to continue to grow into the person I'm supposed to be until I fulfill my purpose here in my temporary home. But I love that because I think that that is definitely something that would probably hold most, if not all people back, is waiting for permission. And you're right. I mean, I just finished another book today. The One Thing by Gary Keller. Such a great book. Such a great book.
We are so the same. So I love you.
I know. It's the weirdest thing. It's honestly bizarre how alike we are. It's bizarre. But I mean, they touched on exactly what you said about, most people don't regret doing the thing. They regret not doing the thing. And so if you're waiting, just stop. I mean, that's all you have to do is just stop. All you have to do is act. And it's just that small little act of courage that is going to be the catalyst into making another small act of courage. And before you know it, all of a sudden you're doing bold things. You're a completely different person. 1% better every single day ends up becoming 37% better a year, which is pretty crazy. This was from another great book. It was a book on atomic habits. I think it was Atomic Habits.
Okay.
1% better every day turns into 37% better a year. So I think that if you were looking for permission, you just got it. So, Corrie Beth, thank you so much for being here and blessing me and all of our listeners and our viewers with your stories and just this personal, heartfelt message that only you can tell. And if anyone is looking to find you or maybe have a workout at Pure Physique or maybe get some fitness advice, you have so many platforms that you're on. So can you please share those with our listeners?
Oh, thank you. Thank you for having me. It's always an honor to spend time together. I love garnering wisdom from you, and I love the woman you're becoming. I've never heard anyone quantify that 1% better, 37% a year.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Interesting, right?
Yes. It's good. It's exciting, right? Like we can all do that.
Yeah.
They can find us on purephysique.com. So Pure is the strongest, purest version of yourself, physique being your body. And we also have a podcast, That Fitness Couple. So anywhere you find podcasts, you can find that.
I love that. Amazing. Thank you so much for listening and being a part of our program. If you were inspired by anything today, please, first of all, like and subscribe, but please also share this with someone that you know needs to hear this message. Thank you so much again. God bless.